And things, chilling with my homegirl.
Nia, what's up? It's another Wednesday. We're going to get into some tea and something. Yeah, and definitely some things tonight. But I'm going to break us off with a little celebrity news, okay?
Lord, what's going on with the celebrities?
Well, unfortunately, we have condolences.
Oh,
Yeah, I know. I don't like those.
me either. I hate it when we got to start out with condolences.
But we're going to start out with condolences and prayers for Ray Lewis III.
Ray Lewis.
His dad was a football player.
Oh, okay.
Ray Lewis.
Okay.
He won 2 Super Bowls.
Okay.
His son was found, which is Ray Lewis III. He did play college ball as well. He did not go on to the NFL as his father, but so he was found unresponsive when he arrived at the hospital. He was dead. June 15th on my birthday, unfortunately. But the police, they put in a report they suspect it was an overdose.
Oh,
I don't know an overdose of what, but the young man was only 28 years old.
That's horrible.
Horrible. So definitely keep the Lewis family in your prayers. Very sad. Very, very sad. Yes. I hate that too.
Wow.
And so young. And one of his former coaches from Virginia, because he did play in Miami as well, just reached out on social media, said he was a great athlete, great to work with, a great kid overall.
Yeah, I hate
Very
to hear
sad.
that. So, definitely condolences to their family. It's got to be hard.
And while we are praying, guys, let's keep our prayers up for the brat. She is in good spirits and she is fine. She's just pregnant at a late age. She
is not having complications, is she?
No, but she was placed in a hospital on high risk pregnancy. She's kind of towards the end right now, so they put her on a bed rest.
Yeah, man. Let me tell you something. Being pregnant ain't nothing to play with. It's a whole condition.
I think she's what, 49, 48?
It's a whole condition. And I don't know why they keep saying like it's easy to have babies in close to 50. That's geriatric pregnancy.
My concern is not having the baby close to 50, is when the baby is 2. So it's going through terrible 2, which is 2 years. Now you're 52, 54, running behind a 2, 3, 4-year-old. Your ass is worn out, okay?
Your nerves ain't the same. Your patience is not the same.
And your tired level is not the same.
Yeah, your energy level.
it is just not the same. Okay?
Yeah, I think my whole thing with it is just like, even though you can be as healthy as an ox, right? You can be just as healthy as possible. But the reality of it is that carrying a whole nother human is a lot. It's just simply a lot. Okay. And you just don't know what is going on with your body on the inside, because no matter how healthy you are, your body still ages no matter what type of health you're in.
Lord.
Your body don't produce as many eggs. The eggs. So I don't know if you know this, but when women develop their female organs and they are able to produce, right? And they come with all the eggs they gonna have at the very beginning. So if you 12 and you start, then that's all the eggs you're ever gonna have. You don't make new eggs. So you have this sack of eggs that you have, and that's all the eggs that you're ever gonna have. Right? So they've been sitting there since I was 12.
Oh, Jesus.
If you're having a baby at 45, you just gotta think about that. Them eggs been there since you was 12.
Wow. Why wouldn't she say it that way, guys?
You think they're fresh or you think they're stale? Which one?
Lord have mercy. I don't know. I don't know what's in the Easter basket.
Exactly.
When she break it down like that. But yeah, so we'll just keep the bread in our prayers. She seems to be in good spirits. This is not a very common thing, but it's common. Like I know people that was placed in the hospital on bed rest towards the
my
end.
sister was.
Yeah, my cousin was. So yeah,
I was.
Hey,
we all was.
And then on the good notes, and y'all know this makes me feel really happy.
Okay.
That we did mention that Takeoff just had a birthday,
right?
Which was June 18th. Few days after mine.
Oh my goodness.
I know. It was like a whole lot of fabulous people having a birthday all in 1 week.
Oh Lord Jesus.
But Quavo and Takeoff. Quavo and Offset decided to settle their differences to,
that's wonderful.
Honor their family member, Takeoff, for his birthday.
That's wonderful.
They were spotted, both together wearing Takeoff's memorial shirt, talking. So I thought that was really, really good.
That's wonderful.
Really, that's amazing to put stuff aside to recognize your family member.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
That was wonderful. And so our friend Killer Mike got a lot to say about the gun.
Oh yeah, he just came out with a new record.
Yeah, and he got a lot to say about the gun laws. So it's split in half. Some people are coming for him. They don't agree with him. They don't like what he's saying. Some people like what he's saying. I don't know. I gotta.
Have you heard the record yet?
I haven't heard the record yet.
I haven't either. So we'll research and come back to that one because I hadn't heard the record either. But a friend of mine was telling me that people are really getting into like commenting about what he's saying. Well, that's what music is supposed to do. It's supposed to spark conversation. So, Killer Mike, you did what you were supposed to do by sparking the conversation.
Okay, in your music, but he's also speaking out as well.
Well,
so he feels like, so this is why people not liking what he's saying. I like some of what he's saying. So he feels like the gun laws are going to harm African Americans.
Okay.
He feel like we need to have guns.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
People don't like that, okay?
I bet they don't.
Yeah, people don't like that.
Look, I bet they don't.
People don't like that. He does feel like to keep some of the crime down. Now, I do agree with him on that. To make curfew. He said when we were growing up, we had curfew. Yeah. We had to be in the house by a certain time.
By them street lights,
keep your ass out them streets, which is trouble after a certain time.
Yeah.
So he feel like that minors, underagers, whatever we calling them, need to go back to curfew, and it needs to be enforced as it was when.
Well, the thing is like back in the day, the parents was really the ones who was enforcing it, right? So it wasn't such a political thing because everybody knew, like, hey, I don't want my kids involved in this type of stuff when it's past, the 8, 9 o'clock hour. You need to be at home. You need to be home to eat dinner. You need to be home. So as parents, we got to do better by not just saying, oh, okay, yeah, well, they grown, they out at this time. No, you need to say, okay, 7 o'clock is dinner time. You need to be here by that time, period.
Yeah, I do agree with him on the curfew because, which is not all young people, but it's a lot of the young people that's
doing crazy stuff.
Pulling out guns and bam, shooting them.
And bam.
But people don't like him saying that the new laws and all the laws they want to come out with is putting African Americans at risk. He said if we need guns to protect ourselves. I don't know about that, but
our parents also knew who all of our friends were and had their numbers in case of an emergency. At least mine did. My parents did too.
Yeah.
I wasn't going anywhere with anybody that my parents did not know. It wasn't even a question.
Yeah. And and
they was ready to check any of my friends.
Yeah.
Like if they out of line, they like, excuse me?
Yeah. So I don't know, how do you guys feel about what Killer Mike got to say
I mean,
about the guns? And
I mean,
but what I do, I didn't mean to cut you off, sorry, but what I do like is that he's speaking out about it. He's
taking
giving taking a stand, giving his opinion, speaking out about it, and I think that's great.
right.
Whether we agree with him or not,
Yeah.
and the trolls could stop coming for him, I think it's great. And he always speak out.
I think people are gonna have something to say no matter what. That's what I think. They're gonna have something to say no matter what. If they agree with you, they're gonna have positive reviews. If they don't agree with you, they're gonna be hating. So I think that it's good that he's even sparking the conversation. That means that what he's touching on a topic that is sensitive to everyone. So I think that's great because that sparks curiosity in a conversation.
Yeah.
So I feel like he did what he was intending to do, which was to get people talking about what's happening in these streets.
Mm-hmm.
Because my thing is, don't talk about it, be about it. This is the first step, starting the conversation so that we could see how to make it better.
Yeah, I like it. I like it.
Yeah.
So instead of attacking him for his beliefs and how he feel, join in, give your opinion, and spark a conversation, like Shantae said.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm excited. I'm excited to see what comes out of it. I really feel like if he just dropped the kill him, like maybe he could run for some type of political office or something.
He does a great job speaking.
He does.
I mean, even during COVID, during the riots, like I enjoyed listening to what he had to say.
Right. So I feel like,
remember he cried.
He's
when they were tearing up Atlanta.
I mean, it's devastating because people, when you think about what they were tearing up, they're tearing up people's businesses that they've worked years and years to put together. So yeah, I mean, that's something to shed a tear for. Like,
yeah,
I don't know. I get the high emotion and everything, but I just feel like it's so unfortunate that that's the only way that people feel like they're going to get hurt is to be able to tear up some shit.
Lord. Well, y'all, Shantae is going to bring us into our topic of the day.
But before I do, Andre 3000 got a new album that's dropping.
He just recently had a birthday too.
Yeah, he got something that's gonna be dropping soon. I did see it on the news.
Woo-woo. We like him.
Andre
we love
3000.
him.
Dwayne looking at me crazy. I'm like, you're gonna have to look it up. I was told from a very credible source.
All right, Shantae was told from a credible source. We'll be looking, watching, keeping you guys informed.
Yes. So our topic this week, it's not near and dear to my heart, but I thought it was very intriguing. So anger from parents and how that anger is put on the kids with the yelling and the screaming and all of that. So I was reading an article earlier, and it was an article about what Russell Simmons and Kimora Lee Simmons is going through and how that's really affecting their two daughters.
Mm-hmm.
One of his daughters had posted a couple of conversations that her and her dad were having with each other, where he was, cursing and, raising his voice in a text manner, and she was just talking about how it's really affecting her in a mental capacity, and that when she hears his voice she gets anxiety and things like that. And I thought that was very interesting. I actually know some people who go through their parents like really screaming at them for menial or trivial things, and it gets out of hand. And I just wonder to myself, how does a kid that has that stress on them as a young child, what does that translate to as an adult?
Well, I'll tell you this. I have family members that their conversation, like the way when their parent get angry, they scream and yell.
Yeah.
And so, you know, now them as an adult, when I even try to have a conversation,
Yeah.
they scream and yell at me. And I try to, I'll talk to my older sister about it, and we'll discuss it, and I'll say, we'll agree that that's all they know. So I can't let it affect me in the ways that it do.
Right.
Because that's all they know. They don't know anything different.
And
That's but it's sad because I'm thinking, if you can't even and let me tell you something. It just goes deeper. Like, I'm not gonna put them all the way out there, but
right.
even the mayor, my dad was very close with the mayor of the city of New Orleans. Okay, and even the mayor has reached in and tried to help my family member, and they were screaming and yelling at the mayor. Somebody that's trying to help them. Somebody got the key to the city that could actually help you. But because, and I even spoke to the mayor and explained, this is the communication. This is all they know.
Right.
So,
yeah, I mean, I think Robin is right when she says, you can feel worthless.
True.
Like, your opinion doesn't matter. I feel like it sparks so many different emotions for adult people once they encounter that as a young child. So one thing that I've noticed about some people who I know for a fact that that's what their situation is, they have difficulties like being sure about themselves, like in the terms of making decisions, and like they don't feel like they're able to do that because they're used to somebody basically telling them, no, you don't know what you're talking about, no, you don't know what you're doing, and really not listening.
Yeah.
And so they say nothing instead of advocating for themselves. So the feelings of self-worth, so self-worthlessness, but also too, then they create toxic environments. And I know we talk about this toxicity a lot, because I mean, it's so rampant these days, and dealing with people and their personalities and things like that. But it's like, when you get to a point where you don't know how to communicate anymore, and all you know is to scream to try to get your point across, like, that becomes a generational curse.
Yeah. Yeah. And I like one of the things you did mention about the young lady, Russell's daughter, mentioning that this is causing her mental health, and it can.
Yeah.
I know people that come from toxic, screaming, yelling, that's all they know, and it's carried on into relationships.
Yeah.
Because they don't know anything different. And it's also carried on into mental health,
Yeah.
and it's really sad. Communication is important.
I thought it was really disheartening to hear her say, when I hear your voice, Daddy, I get anxiety.
Yeah.
I mean, I just got finished telling somebody just on Tuesday that I love Father's Day, right? I love being able to celebrate my dad. I love being able to celebrate the father of my child, my husband. I love being able to celebrate them because they are amazing people. And I just can't imagine saying, to hear the sound of your voice is creating me an anxiety attack, a panic attack.
Wow.
From just the sound of your voice.
Wow. That's deep.
I mean, that's like on a whole nother level. You hear the voice, your heart start pounding, you can't even talk to them. I can't imagine that being like when I'm talking to my dad. Like, I can't even imagine that.
Yeah, that's deep. That's deep.
So Robin says some parents have set their and called their children names. Oh,
Yeah.
I mean, it's one thing. And so as a parent, have I ever been mad enough to feel like, my daughter is this or that? Sure. But I've never said it to her. I've never even said it out loud. Like, it's like she's acting like a little biatch today. But I've never said that to her. That's horrible.
Yeah. I mean, words can tear you down. And even from young, if you come from like parents yelling and screaming and cursing and downing you and saying things and everything, it's that can mess you up when you get older. It can really mess you up when you get older.
Yeah, and I know, like, for me, sometimes if I'm frustrated with Rachel, I will oftentimes tell her, what you're doing is frustrating me right now. And I don't want to be upset with you, but I'm trying to communicate with you and tell you that what you're doing right now is making me very upset. And you really need to stop. So, I mean, I just tell her. And she'd be like, okay, I understand. I'm like, do you? I just try to talk to her, because obviously kids gonna get under your skin. You ain't never gonna have a perfect child that they don't ever get on your nerves, that they never say anything bad or whatever. But
You know? Yeah. Well, Lulu says that she dated a guy whose father would call him a dumb MFer all the time. And I know people like that. It's really sad. It's
wow.
I think it's awful. I think it's awful to like yell, scream, talk down to your kids, because you got to think about how that's going to affect them later. Like, I know people now that are grown adults that are so affected by what they went through with their parents as a child.
Yeah. And I just think it's really unfortunate. And so you have to say, well, how do you move past those things to become a better you, right? So, in these situations, you're kind of like, okay, well, this happened. It happened a long time ago. It's deeply rooted and something that's hard to deal with. But like, what type of steps do you have to take to even get over that hurdle? So I always think to myself, so a lot of people say therapy, right? And I know that in our community, people shy away from it. They shy away from therapy, saying that it's not really a Black thing or whatever. It may be helpful to some people. I've tried therapy to deal with issues that I have. Um, I couldn't really get into it, but it could have been the therapist that I. So I don't know. Maybe I'll try again, but I will say that it helps people. I do think it does help. Otherwise, there wouldn't be a profession for it. So I think it does help. And I just think that you have to find like the right fit for you. For me, I think what helps for me, I like to get like spiritual books, and those spiritual books like help me be able to relate to my feelings and how to deal with them in a positive manner. So that's something that helps me. So if I get frustrated, I might be able to go to the book and find something on frustration, and then it will kind of say, okay, well, when this is happening, this is what you need to think about. This is how you need to like handle yourself. So for me, it's the spiritual books that specifically deal with feelings and emotions. So
Okay.
that's one thing I do.
And I'm not a doctor and I'm not a therapist, but I do think that it could be very healthy that, you know, I just think it's healthy. Like, you're holding all this in for so long. Now you're a grown person.
Yeah.
You should be able to go to your parent and I've been
Oh.
holding this and I love you, but these are the things that, and maybe you guys could come together and decide therapy or how we could work through, you know,
Yeah. What
what I
happened?
did when you were younger. I don't know. I'm not a doctor, but I think that's a good start.
I think that's real healthy, especially because when you're an adult, I feel like your parents can talk to you a little bit different.
Right.
And
And it should be a respecting there now.
right.
You
And
know?
they may be able to offer up a reason as to why.
Yeah.
Now, I will say that also could go horribly wrong
It could.
because you could ask them and then they might feel like they don't have to give an explanation.
Right.
Or they might feel like, why are you questioning me about what I did? Or, so you just don't know. Parents could be embarrassed about how they handled the situation back then. And maybe they don't want to explain because they don't want to have to own up to it.
Yeah. True.
But at that point, as an adult, you have to either accept what they are saying or you keep holding on to it.
Yeah.
I mean, so you got to find that what's going to make you help happy.
What's healthy for you.
Yeah, what's going to make you happy. I mean, so
Robin does agree with self-love books. Yeah, because at the end of the day, you got to fix you.
Yeah.
That's how I try to live. I try to fix me. And if fixing me help me understand you, then I could deal with it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I definitely agree. I feel like this topic is not one that can really be tackled in a 30-minute session, but I certainly think that opening the conversation to say, hey, we see that type of thing affects people. And,
right.
And to just kind of put a little nugget in people's minds, like, when you are doing these things, those things can affect a person for a lifetime. So as a parent, be so careful about the things that you are putting out there in the atmosphere to your kids, because believe me, even though they're moving past it, they never forget. They never forget.
That's true.
I mean, I even remember things about how my mom put on her makeup, her lipstick, how she talked to me, the sweet things she did for me, even though I may not be able to remember the exact words that she may have said to me, but I remember the way that I felt. And like, I'll never forget. You know what I mean? So I know that translates to so many different people. So we got to be careful about how we're raising our kids these days. I mean, I just feel like we need to do a little bit more raising.
She just said it all. Do a little bit more raising. Well,
we got 1 minute.
And I'm going to give you guys, you don't mind, I'm going to give us our 5-minute, 1-minute tip, which is free and it costs you nothing. So we all know I just had a birthday last week. And of course, I got reached out to on social media. But the more, and don't get me wrong, I appreciate people taking time out to go on my timeline, reach out to me on social media. And I don't know if the secret was out that I had a birthday this year, but I heard from people I hadn't heard from in years. And it was like so special to me that people took the time to text me and call me, like, reach out to me, like, like a friend. And it was so many people. I was just like, overwhelmed. I'm sure that they saw that I had a birthday on, oh, thank you, Lulu. I'm sure they saw it on social media, and it's one thing to, and this goes for myself too, because I always do try to reach out on social media, but for people who I have their phone number,
call them.
Yeah, like so many people reached out and called me and texted me, and text me like free birthday cards and things like that and flowers, and it really made me feel special. I was just like, I mean, and it was even like, it was from my family to friends I haven't talked to in years, people in other states, people in other countries, celebrities. And I'm thinking, oh my God, I feel special. But it just really meant a lot.
Yeah.
It really meant a lot.
Yeah.
So if you have somebody's number and you could reach out to text them for their birthday or
call
whatever, or call them, it's free because we have the phone. We got to pay the bill anyway, whether we're reaching out or not, right?
That's
so
true.
Just to take that time out, it could really make somebody feel really special.
Yep. And I'm a birthday caller. I never text. I never put it in social media. So I always call people on their birthdays. That's my thing.
Right. And of course, yeah. And I do love all the people that did post on my timeline, and most of them don't have my number. But for the people that do have my number,
thank you.
They really reached out, and I was like, I'm gonna start reaching out to people.
Yeah.
Because it really made
the difference.
Make a difference, especially this day and time, because everybody wanna social media tags, chat, this, that. Nobody wanna
and really check on your well-being for real.
Yeah, check on you.
All right. That's our time.
This was another fabulous episode of Tea and Things.
Yeah.
We'll see you guys next Wednesday, same time, same place.